Hey there, Starblazers. Today I want to talk to you about Live mixed recording software and how to configure your space on a budget or space constraint so that you can film Live mixed reality videos as well. Now, Live, if you're not familiar, is the software that allows you to record yourself in VR while still showing the immersive VR content. You may have seen this in the beginning of our patch notes or some of our gameplay videos where I'm standing in the middle of it, usually in my Starblazer shirt and white pants, and it's like I'm in VR. You can see the ships passing in front, you can see my controllers tracked and interacting with the different objects, and this is done through the power of Live. Now, Live has been huge to the VR community, and I think absolutely critical to it, because VR has the inherent problem of it doesn't look that great in videos. Like if you just look at a first-person camera view of VR, somebody who's never played VR is not going to understand why we are all in love with VR. But somebody who's a VR fanatic, they know what I'm talking about. Everybody remembers the first time you put on a VR headset and you looked around and you were fully immersed. Live is what brings that experience to a 2D medium and helps audiences who haven't played VR understand what VR is like. Or even better, helps other people understand what your game is like. For instance, I would say Live is a huge part of the success of Beat Saber because Live helps show people how much fun it is to slice neon boxes with lightsabers, and it can show real people within the VR content, show them immersed. And my business partner, Brandon, he encouraged me. He said, you got to put Live in Starblazer, and he was absolutely right. The minute I put it into Starblazer and started recording, I understood. I was like, oh, great. Now people can finally understand how you're controlling ships and what the point of the game is. And this was huge, critical, super glad that I was able to integrate it. And the integration, just so developers know, is really easy, very simple, drag and drop, and pretty easy to get going. But the part that I'm going to talk about today is more on the content creation. So if I wasn't a developer filming videos for my patch notes, but just a regular content creator, I would still need to go through the Live setup of my space and how to record Live videos. Now, some people may feel daunted about getting into Live and mixed reality recording because you don't think you have the right equipment or the right space. Well, I wanted to let you know that you can do Live videos and you can do pretty good quality content within your space constraints and within your budget constraints. My entire setup is probably cost a grand total of $150 between green screen and the professional lighting that I have to help the green screen. And once you have, green screen and lighting, those are the most important things. But the setup wasn't that expensive, not in the grand scheme of things, considering what you're getting. And then the actual setup is something that I've made very adaptable. Some people have those massive green screened VR rooms, or they paint the walls of their house green to support Live. That is super cool. I love seeing setups like that. Unfortunately, I can't do that. I rent an apartment. I have a one-bedroom apartment. My office with my computer where I make Starblazer is right next to my TV, which is in the living room, which is right next to the dining table, which all of that is right next to this walkway, which leads to my bathroom and my bedroom. As you can tell, it's not easy for me to have just a permanent green screen setup all of the time. And while there's great people in the community that have offered me a green screen setup to use whenever I need to, like Poo Nanners, shout out, another awesome VR advocate that huge helps the community. They would let me use their green screen room, but that doesn't necessarily work for me if I'm trying to create patch notes and content, because I'm going to wake up at 5 before I go to work and try to record these videos and get them in. And so I need a setup at home. And I'm going to show you how I do my setup, how I make it work within my space, and how I do a teardown setup process in a relatively short amount of time so that it adapts to my lifestyle. And let's get started. Okay, let's do this. This is my computer setup over here with the chair and then keyboard, VR headset, that's my gaming computer, and headset that you see me wear in some of the videos. And what I wanted to point out is I'll be using this camera right here. This is the same camera that I use for all of my videos, whether it's a web call or in this case Live, and I actually leave it set up in this configuration. I have it in a position where I can record a video in the chair, or I can sit down and then have a webcast or whatever I need to do with the webcam, but then it actually stays in place, and then it's going to be facing out towards this wall. So this wall behind me is where I put my green screen. I needed something that was out of the way and that could be moved up and down. And so it's hung up there. You can see those hooks on the side. It's hung up there with some hooks that screw into the wall, and it holds it permanently. Now, what we're going to do is, you'll notice I have some furniture in here. This is going to get in the way of the Live video, and so the first thing that we need to do is move the furniture. One of the most important pieces of furniture to move would be the lights. If you watch any video on how to set up a green screen, they show you that you need to have pretty good lights so that it's well lit. In this case, I leave the lights permanently in place, and then I just move them around whenever I need to. So this one I'll move onto my small couch, and then this one it sits over here next to the computer on the other side of my dining table, and then I'll move it just out a little ways. There we go. And like that. And then we can turn those on once we're ready. For the green screen behind me, I have a step ladder and then an additional green screen for the floor that I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to set those up and then roll the green screen down. I try to keep everything tidy in my house, so the additional green screen and a step ladder I just keep behind this little shelf, and then I pull it out whenever I'm ready to set up my green screen. And then this is for the floor of the green screen. The final thing that I'll point out is the position of the Vive lighthouses. So if you notice, the lighthouses, they're up against the wall and very inconspicuously off to the side. So again, if I go in here, my other lighthouse I actually have hidden behind the TV and backed out of the way. So they both project down onto the area, but they're not in the way, so I can walk around and get around my apartment when I'm not doing VR or Live videos. That's all there is to it. If you notice, the process doesn't take that long. That's good, because I go through this every time I need to make a Live video, and recently we've been having a lot of fun with Live, and we like to do them all the different patch notes, and hopefully we'll keep that up. It is a little bit of a process, just because Every time I want to do a video, I have to unroll, move some of the furniture, but I specifically arranged my living room to accommodate this. I moved that smaller couch over against the wall because I knew it was easier to move to the side, and then the big couch, I don't want to be sliding that around by myself, and so I put that against the wall where it doesn't have to move. And then, of course, green screen rolling down makes a lot of sense, and then that additional one for the floor made it easily accessible. That said, if you want to have some fun with Live, if you want to film some mixed reality videos, you absolutely should. It's so much fun. If you're a developer, I highly, highly encourage you to use Live in mixed reality because it's the only good way, in my opinion, to show people what gameplay is really like. You can do recorded videos from a first-person perspective, but it doesn't do VR justice. It's hard to show what the gameplay is actually like for an in-game user. And so personally, when I look at our game, I'm really glad that we did the Live integration and then show that because I think it's huge in being able to promote and show off just what the game's capable of. So if you're a developer, go for it. Now you know how to create a green screen in a decently sized apartment that's mobile and can be torn down if for some reason you can't have a permanent setup. If you do have a permanent setup, that's great. All right. Take care, y'all. Bye.